So congratulations, Congcong.
Thank you so much, and thank you guys for being here, and Alex, and where's Alex?
He was
yes.
Yeah.
Alex is a driving force behind us, but we know that we are winners before their announcement. I guess that's what counts, right? So, 2-minute mark, very important.
Yeah.
Yes. So, my name is Zheng, and I'm from the Department of Management. The paper that I'm going to present, we have presented in USASP conference, the last conference, and I'm very delighted to have my co-author here, Zheng, and also Alex Denoble. What's the paper about? It is about the theme of today, which is change. There are multiple sides of change. We have the environment side, urban development, right? That might be an environmental side. We have the firm strategy, right? That's what we care about in business. How does a firm react to external changes, right? Or what's this paper about is on the individual side. When change happens in our life, in our environment, how do we change ourselves to be with one on the change, with the change, right? So this paper is one of our papers that's centrally themed on how does the students become entrepreneurs, and how do teams, student teams that are from student become entrepreneurs. How do they build a business? So our sample is 14 teams in the Zheng Center. Anyone venture out, what is the 3 for? What is the 3 for out of 14 teams?
Succeed.
Yes, they are the ones who have became entrepreneur, right? We normally think to become an entrepreneur, you have to build a business, right? You have to assemble your team, capital, mentor, a slew of things, right? And that may appear to be so, but is that truly so? That's my first question to you as audience. The other question to you as audience is, as educators, we are not necessarily entrepreneurs. What's our role in here? Are we just purely discovering the gem, the jewel from the students? Are those already three before we discover them? Or do we play a role in them becoming the 3? So that's my second question to you. Let's begin the journey. I will take you through the journey of one of the teams. They started with a lot of entrepreneurs with a frustration. The students frustrated sitting in a 500-student auditorium, an 18-year-old from a small college came here and really don't have the connection with the professors, right? So he started this, what can we do? Can I do something, right? And he was one of the first cohorts in the Zheng Center. So we started thinking what he did was learning how to do it, right? Learning how to do it. How to get a team, how to get a mentor, how to pivot. That's a name for change, right? Fancy name for change in business. So, but we were surprised. Instead, we came with social cognitive framework, which is a framework on how we change, how we learn, how we become the role, a different role, right? So there are 3 aspects to this. First, this is from Albert Bandura from the Stanford, and a very well-established framework. There are 3 elements here. First element is self-observation. When you want to become an entrepreneur, you have to observe what are you doing. Are you doing entrepreneurial things, right? Second is judgment. If you want to become an entrepreneur, you have to know who the entrepreneurs are and compare yourself with them, right? Third is affective reaction, which is, if I do something right, do I feel elevated? If I do something wrong, do I feel frustrated? And can I change my behavior so that I can do the right things, right? Affect has a lot to do with effort, right? That's why we're interested. So the method is very simple, but very complicated. It's one of the methods I use, the qualitative method. 14 teams and interview with Kathy. But the problem of qualitative, a lot of people don't understand, is overload of data. So the key thing is really understand data, compare and contrast between different teams, and then unfold the literature. That's what we did. And this is the brain of the paper, brain of the presentation. What did we find? The key things are two sides. On one side is about judgment. Judgment in relation to the mentors, relation to who the entrepreneurs are, right? You can have one side which is low and one side which is high. Low is what we start with. Low is someone telling you how to do it, how to pivot an idea, how to find a team, how to find a capital, right? But that's not enough. High is when someone tells you that this is how entrepreneurs behave, and most importantly, you can be one. You can be one, right? On the other side is negative and positive affect. There are tons of ups and downs, right? And when an entrepreneur can successfully monitor their emotions so that they always are going forward without being dragged down by the failures, and when they can, someone tell them, you are an entrepreneur, this is how you behave, they succeed. If they don't have either one, they fail. More failures than success. So the 3 and 1, the idea of the frustration that started from frustration became course key. They raised $800,000 when that 18-year student was frustrated after a few years, $8,000 before this guy can buy a beer for his team. And now they have $2 million. They're one of the most successful teams. So that's their journey. But as a journey of the educators, journey of us, journey of our audience, the most important question is, so what? Do we discover them? They're already entrepreneurs. Or we did something, right? We give them mentorship. We give them all the good things, telling them that you can do it, right? Let me end with a story. The story will take 2 minutes, and the story is a story of Bozo. From 1,000 years ago, Bozo is a Zen master. He's called the horse master because he's tall. He's taller than Larry, right? When he sits in meditation, he's very, very big. And his master is called Nakatsu, which is 6 patriarchs' disciple, right? His master said, you know, why you are sitting? He said, Baozu said, I want to become enlightened. I want to become enlightened, right? So you know what Nakatsu did? Nakatsu went outside of the house and picked up a tile. And he began to polish the tile. So in Japan and in China, when you took the tile from the kiln, you start to polish it to give it a sheen, to become brighter. So Baozu said, Master, why are you polishing this tile? Nakatsu said, because I want it to become a jewel. Baozu said, how possible? That's not possible. A tile cannot become a jewel. And then Nakatsu said, if it's not possible for a tile to become a jewel, how is it possible to become enlightened through sitting? So this is the heart of the presentation. What we can do as educators and as mentors or as the significant others, all we can do is polish the tile. Thank you.
Thank you, Congcong.
You're welcome.
Okay, who has a question?
Yes.
Yep.
Congcong, did you, as for part of the study, did you study like the 14 individuals? Because I was just curious.
Yes.
How this study transpired. I mean, were they interviews?
Oh, yes.
Were they like?
They were interviewed in depth over a 3 months period. So this is a whole team effort. So our team trained the research assistants to interview the people, also interview Kathy. So, and then all of us read the transcripts, which sometimes is 15, 20 pages, and then we compare and contrast them. So it's mainly qualitative based, but with a secondary confirmation from Kathy.
So what were some of the things, that the students who were successful, what were some of the things that they said about how they were successful? In other words, their mentors, how were their mentors shining them?
So I remember one important quote. I don't know which one it was. By the way, there are 3 successes. Class tablets, which is Korsky, are the most successful. The other 2, they have sales, they have things. That's why we categorize them successful launch, right? They either have, they have some level of sustainability from revenues and from different things, right? So there are, of course, a lot of things that they did, right? Like, for example, Korsky, they learned from everybody. They said one of the mentors came in here, did a Scrum. Some of you in computer science might know is a Scrum methodology. It's about how do you manage the teams, right? So that was really useful for them. And then they have one of the successful things that I recognize is the successful launches. They learn from almost everybody. So not only engineers, salespeople, but also different, different people, right? And then one of the quotes that I remember is is one of the person said, one of the mentor told him is, this is how you behave. This is how you behave. So that left an impression on me. So we categorize that as a high mentorship support with psychology support.
Larry?
So since you, at the end of your presentation, you told a lovely sort of poetic kind of Zen Buddhist parable.
Yes.
It makes me want to ask you the question, is there any wisdom from Eastern philosophy that lends itself to your theoretical approach in your study?
Yes. 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 Good question. Good question. Okay, so I practice meditation. I have been for 8 years. Yoga for 15 years. So, but I will tell you, today there is a research assistant. I always run into each other in the corridor. I don't really know her. She came to me and she said, I said, you are leaving, right? She said, yes. I'm trying to find a job, right? So she said, she sounded very nervous, right? Like very kind of uncertain. She said, I'm like really now, I don't know what to do, right? So I said to her, I said, you are in the best of the times. And she said, really? I said, yes, because when you're a moment of change, when you're a moment of uncertainty, you have tons of possibilities. And when you are certain, actually you only have one. So a book that really influenced me is The Beginner's Mind from Senyun Suzuki. He passed away, but we always keep the beginner's mind, which is in the beginner's mind, there's tons of possibilities. There are many, but in expert's mind, there are only one. So that's why I love this slam, by the way, because we're all beginners here.